Good morning. Welcome to day 5. It's still dark. It's bright and early this morning, and I hope you all had a really good restful sleep and are ready to start off feeding our sourdough starter. Let's go check out and see how they look.
Okay, let's unwrap them and take a look.
And here, I think our brown rice starter is coming back to life, so we did the right thing here. Okay, so here's our brown rice starter, Betty, and you can see, like I showed you earlier, there's a few bubbles again. So if this has happened to you, it is not a lost cause. Don't give up. We can figure out what's going on. Let's all be there for one another and help one another figure it out. So you can see inside, now I've made it a little thicker and I like that better. It still jiggles, but let's give it a good stir and see how it looks this morning. See, to me, this looks a lot more like our sorghum starter. So we're going to feed it 100% hydration. Don't worry too much about what that means, but it's just like we talked about before, the 1-to-1 water to flour ratio. And I think we're actually going to continue to stay with the 1-to-1-to-1 ratio because it doesn't seem to have a lot of activity. We're going to keep 60 grams of starter, discard all but 60 grams, and then we're going to feed it 60 grams of our flour and 60 grams of room temperature water. And we're going to, again, not do the pineapple juice because, like I said, we've already encouraged the lactic acid growth by giving it that acidic environment by adding that acidic juice. And the lactic acid bacteria is what we want in order to encourage the wild yeast growth. So that's what gives our bread that amazing rise. So I'm going to discard. Eventually, I would like to get this one down to the same as the others, so I'm not having to feed it as much. But I wanted to show both because I wanted to compare them. But I also wanted to have it so that if somebody couldn't tolerate sorghum flour, that they'd be able to still make a starter. Okay, so we've got our 60 grams here of starter, and we're going to just tare our scale, and we're going to add 60 grams of water and 60 grams of flour, keeping our 1-to-1-to-1 ratio for our brown rice flour, and hopefully get it going again. And if you feel like you don't have time to feed it twice a day, don't worry. You don't have to. It's not absolutely necessary. You could just increase. And I'll put this hopefully on my post too. You could just increase the amount that you feed as well, have a bigger feed and do it once a day, but it will be much happier and much more vigorous and healthy if you feed it twice a day.
So now we'll feed our 60 grams of flour. And if you go over by a gram or two, not to worry.
60, see there I have 62, but that's okay. So we're going to check out and see what the consistency looks like now. And then we can use our intuition to decide, do we like this or do we need to add a little more of flour or water? And I actually like it. I think it looks pretty good. So with the brown rice flour, the more we mix it, the thinner the consistency gets. So I'm going to go away and keep mixing and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. Okay, so I have been mixing my brown rice starter now for 2 minutes and you could see the consistency. Similar to the sorghum, I can jiggle it and level it out, so that looks good. I just realized I used the flour that I had said I didn't want to use because I thought perhaps it may not be the best. And I had bought a fresh, it was fresh, but you never know. So I had bought another fresh bag and oops, I used the other one. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to feed twice today. So I set that one aside and hopefully now I'll get it correct. So we're going to scrape down the sides. If yours isn't active yet, not to fret if it's still not having that many bubbles, just a few bubbles, we're going to save it. Don't give up yet at this point. You can still get lots of activity. We still have lots of time. And we can all be there for one another and help each other answer each other's questions. And hopefully all of us will have a lovely starter at the end of this, and we will be able to make some incredible sourdough bread. Okay, there we are. So now we've got, I think we have 180 grams in total. We are keeping at that higher ratio of starter to feed. So you can see this is the consistency that I'm looking for. It's like a jiggle, it jiggles. There we go. So you can level it out, but it's not too liquidy. And I can already see some bubbles forming. So that's really exciting news. And of course, like always, we need to raise our elastic or double check on our elastic and the level of the elastic if we are still changing the amounts. If we are just feeding it the same amount, it should be the same. So just double check and make sure it's at the right height before you put it into a nice warm spot.
So remember, you can bake with your discard now. I've put lots of ideas in the post below, so check it out and don't throw out your discard. I'm just dying to know, how's your starter looking on day 5? Whether you started with us on April 1st or not, I'd still love to see a picture. We'll come back later this evening and feed our starters again. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.